So look at the current one. I call it traditional credentialing system, the prevailing system that we have now. So basically the student will come through the formal entry through UPU. They will go to the first year, second, third year, and the fourth year. They have to go through the system. They have no choice. Even though they are very smart students, they cannot make 4 years to 3 years or less because the system is time-based. It's very rigid. It's not flexible at all. So at the end of 4 years, they will get 120 units. And what do they get at the end? They will get a degree. A degree. What is a degree? Just a piece of paper and maybe a transcript, right? But what does it signify or represent? It's actually a recognition of learning and competency. It's supposed to be a recognition of their learning during the 4 years and the competency that they have achieved according to the program outcome, right? So we have the PO, the program outcome. At the end of this program, students should be able to do this and that. So we assume after they have gone through the process, sit all the papers, the subject, they got A, B or whatever, then they get 120 credit hours or 127, they are competent graduate. They can be a competent architect, competent whatever that you produce here. That's basically the assumption, right? So the degree also is a form of credential. It's a credential. Credential is actually a form of recognition of learning and evidence of competency. That's what credential is about. Okay? But the credential in this case for this program only can be obtained at the end of 4 years. What happens if the student flunk, fail and out in the middle? What do they end up with? Nothing. If they enter with SPM, they will just end up with SPM. If they enter with STPM or matriculation, matriculation has no value. Yeah, they have a certificate. It's a form of credential as well, but who recognizes that? Sijil matrikulasi, right? So a degree is a form of credential. So you know now I'm explaining the second part of micro-credential. Credential is a form of recognition. In this case, it's a degree. But this student only get a degree after the end of 4 years. If they fail somewhere during the 4 years, they will end up with nothing. They don't have any credential. We can also think about credential. Having a credential means having a credibility, right? I have a bachelor degree in food technology. So I'm competent as food technologist. Whether I'm really competent as food technologist, that remains to be seen when I go out and work as a food technologist, right? So now it's clear, credential. But in this case, 4 years degree, we can call it as macro or micro-credential because it takes 4 years to get that credential. So when we look at a degree as a recognition of formal education, because we are doing this in a formal education environment. This is actually for full-fledged comprehensive program, 4 years, with the PO and so on. And maybe we don't realize it. And the research, many research has shown that daripada 4 tahun yang dia belajar tu, there's only hardly 20% of the content that they learn really they apply in their workplace. Hardly 20%. Rigid anymore. It can be very, very flexible, and we can stretch that flexibility, as high as much as we can. It's no more time-based. It becomes competency-based, meaning that as long as you prove your competency based on our rubric, based on our assessment and so on, you can do it in 14 weeks or you can do it in 4 weeks. Because we say that we are doing outcome-based education. Everything is driven by outcome. So as long as the student prove that they have achieved the outcome, why should we be bothered about how much time they have to take? The sit time, we call it the sit time, how long they have to sit to achieve that outcome. Smart student probably can do it in a very short time. Slow student, maybe they will take their own sweet time. So we make it very flexible. Students can do it at their own pace, at their own time, when they have the mood, when they can afford to pay for the credit and so on. The degree that our students get now at the end of 4 years actually doesn't give a true depth of one's competency. That's why we have a lot of argument, discussion, debate from the stakeholders outside. Why? What happened to our degree? What happened to our education 4 years in the university? If that degree is the evidence of competency, why they are not competent?